prepared for it and kind of expecting it, and it's just a game. Like, I'm not going to let it make me, mad or sad, especially when it's a game that I didn't play in, had nothing to do with whatsoever. It's like getting mad about the ending of a movie. Like, you didn't write the story, you didn't act in the movie. Like, you don't have to like it, obviously. Yeah, that's totally different. But, not liking something doesn't mean that you need to be upset about it, or sad about it, or mad about it. But, so age, maturity, experience, those are definitely factors, I think, for all sports fans, especially us Vikings fans, when dealing with a heartbreaking defeat, such as the one we suffered this past Sunday. However, I think a lot of it is, because you say, well, what about all the adults, Scotty Ball? Like, I know tons of adults who have, it's Wednesday and they're still grumpy about it. But watching this last game and how people reacted to it helped me to even more deeply understand and realize that we torture ourselves by having the wrong point of view, the wrong perspective, the wrong attitude, the wrong understanding of the situation and what's going on in the first place. And my example of this is what Paul Allen said repeatedly after the game. We had the game won. We had it won. And how many times did you say that? How many fans do you know said that? Tons of people said that. We had it won. We had it won. Well, it got me thinking. I feel like I've heard those words before recently when it wasn't the case. When was that again? Oh, yeah. It was in the Super Bowl last year from the Seahawks when they had the ball on the 1 yard line. Down by however many points they were down. 1 point, a couple points, whatever. 4 points, 5 points, something like that. And they had the game won because they were on the 1 yard line. So that meant that they, of course, were, inevitably going to score the touchdown and win the game. They had the game won. We had it won. No, they didn't. And in the Vikings case, no, they didn't. They did not have the game won. Because everybody, the key to this is when everybody feels this way and thinks this way and says this. What time, chronologically. Now, if you said that at the beginning of the fourth quarter, end of the third quarter, something like that, then yeah, you actually could take that approach. But because everyone is saying it when Blair missed the kick, it makes it not true for the same reason it's not true when the Seahawks said it. Because the scoreboard says you have less points than the other team. The Bengals this past weekend can say, we had the game won. You know why they can say it and it's accurate? Because they had more points at the time they're referring to. They were in the lead. You can't say you had the game won when the scoreboard says you have less points than the other team. Plain and simple. That should not be there. I think that should not be that abstract of a concept where everyone can hopefully grasp and understand that. And you should have learned it. We all should have learned it in the Super Bowl last year with the mistake they made and that being their response. That was their mindset at the time. Is we've got the game won. We already won it. No, you didn't. The scoreboard says you have less points. Let's say you have the lead. You're just gonna take a knee and the clock's going to wind down to zeros. But instead, you fumbled the snap and the other team gets it and runs it back for a touchdown. That would be a case in point, again, where you could accurately say, yes, we had the game won because you were in the lead, okay? The Vikings did not have that game won when Blair Walsh came out to kick what would have been the game, hopefully, likely, the game-winning field goal. But that's what the majority of fans felt like and thought. That's what the supposed to be elite football mind Paul Allen, Silver Fox, voice of the Vikings, unibrow, triple chin, what he thought. That's what coaches thought. That's what Zimmer thought. Like that's what a lot of people thought and felt, and that is an error on your part if you're thinking that way. So having an incorrect mindset is, obviously not beneficial, both when, trying to efficiently accomplish something as well as accurately, process information. It's on both the players' coaching staff, the football team side of it, and the spectator fan side of it. It's both of us. It's the same lesson in the same instance, but for both of us, with different ways then, of how it's applicable. And by the way, that is how you say that word, applicable. It's not applicable. It's derived from the word apply, tense applicable. That's why the stressed syllable is the applicable, not applicable. You don't apply for something. Yes, hi, I've noticed that you're hiring and I would like to apply for the job. That's not what you say. Oh, sorry. Anyway, all right. Some much needed sidetrack humor there. While we get back to understanding and coming to peace with what happened this past Sunday. But now, here on the show, because I am a two sides to every coin type of person, since we just finished discussing a very balls deep thought regarding incorrect mindset and understanding that applied to both the Vikings team and the Vikings fans and spectators regarding last week's game, we will now switch our attention to a correct, true understanding that applies to both the Vikings and fan base and spectators as well, that did emerge and was addressed after the Vikings game. It was mentioned by head coach Zimmer. It was mentioned by several players, I believe, as well. And I know it was mentioned by some media people that I listened to over the course of the next 48 hours or so. And that was the concept that you win as a team and you lose as a team. Now, I think this holds fairly true in all team sports, but in my opinion, there is no sport where this is fact is greater on display than in the game of football. It is really the quintessential team sport. There is not one play in the entire game that can be accomplished or done by just one person, with the exception of a touchback kickoff. That would literally be the only play in the sport of football that can theoretically be executed by just one person and the ball. Otherwise, every single play conceivable requires at least two or more people doing their job to execute it successfully. And so, knowing that, the end result of a football game, as other games are as well, but our focus is on football here, the end result of a football game is the sum of all the individual and different players and plays that participated and transpired throughout the course of that game. It is a sum, it is a culmination of all those things. It is not just a whole about 99% of pointlessness, and then one or two players or one or two plays, entirely determined the outcome of the game. That could not be farther from the truth. Now, having said that, I would like to clarify that the degree of which different players and different plays throughout the game impact the outcome obviously varies. I mean, you would be completely wrong and idiotic to think that, well, you win as a team, you lose as a team, so the guy who's on the kick return coverage team, and no other plays then is as important to us winning and losing as the starting quarterback. No, of course not, moron. What a just idiotic way to twist words, but that's how some people interpret things, because they're not open to learning, and gaining a new understanding. Like, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about, but I'm still always looking to know even more, to learn even more. And you can't do that when you're closed off to it. But, so here, just in a moment, we will give to you exactly how much blame is responsible to each source. Who is all responsible for the Vikings' loss? Who and or what is all responsible for the outcome of that game? And to what extent? And so we'll be getting to that just momentarily. One final thing I'd like to address before I forget from the post game, and then we will get to our Purple Vein Vikings film breakdown along with our brand new game. But there was something that, it bothers me a little about Seattle, has for a while, but it was just really worded terribly poorly, and shoved right in my face, as well as other Vikings fans around the state and the country and the world, following the loss on Sunday. So I would like to share that with you, and that is the concept that many Seahawks players genuinely believe. If they don't, they sell it really good, and they still talk it publicly anyway, is the fact that God is a big reason of their success, and that he is, directly involved, in fact, with their success. To quote wide receiver Tyler Lockett, who had the biggest reception of the game for the Seattle Seahawks last week, when he was done with the game, he tweeted out to the world that God was definitely on their side today, and that if he wished everyone could see the power of their team all knelt down in prayer, and so, of course, having seen that, and me being me, I couldn't just leave that, so I tweeted Mr. Tyler Lockett a response on Twitter. And if you don't mind, real quick, I will simply read you my tweet that I sent to Mr. Lockett, to which many people responded favorably to me, which I liked very, very much. But okay, so here I will first read you Mr. Lockett's tweet that drove me crazy. Here it is, word for word. God was definitely on our side. If Yah, Y-A-W, could have only seen our sideline praising and worshiping God. An amazing experience. Hashtag never quit. So that was Mr. Lockett's response that really got me fired up. So that's why I have to, throw this into the Balls on Fire segment yet before we kind of transition it over into the Purple Vein. But so I, like I said, had to reply to Mr. Lockett. The Twitter universe blew up as soon as I tweeted. Like I said, it was pretty much all of it positive, people agreeing with my take. But so here's what I tweeted in response to Mr. Lockett. Dear Mr. Lockett, only the most conceited of Yah, in quotation marks, Y-A-W again, could actually believe God intervenes in a football game to reward someone's faith. Hashtag blasphemy. So boom, if you follow the show on Twitter, you get gold like this, man. I mean, maybe not quite like this, but you get gold on a regular basis. So please follow the show on Twitter at BDST Show. And also on Facebook this week following the game, I put up my immediate, reaction, response, explanation to the Vikings outcome, which got lots of people actually, talking back and forth with me, and I greatly appreciated all of the feedback, whether I found it to be ridiculously wrong